When's the last time you loved somebody on their terms? When's the last time you loved somebody that you didn't like? Like you didn't even really like them that much, but you loved them anyway. When's the last time that you didn't receive anything in return, but you still loved somebody? When's the last time that it wasn't on your terms and you didn't really receive that much in return, but you still loved them? That's what I'm challenged with, and that's what I want to challenge us with. John chapter 13, there's 2 verses. I'm just going to read them real quick. This isn't where we're going to camp out tonight, but I do want to start here. John chapter 13, verses 34 and 35, it says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Jesus says, this is a new commandment that I give to you. A new commandment, that you would love one another. And you say, well, loving one another, loving your neighbor is in the Old Testament as well. How is this a new commandment? What's new about this commandment is what comes after that. He says, just as I have loved you, right? The example of Jesus' love for us is the new about this commandment. And the example is the power that we have to love one another the way that he has. Just as I have loved you. We know how he loved us. It was all about sacrifice. It was all about laying down his life for us. The Bible says that greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. Sacrifice, love built on sacrifice, not based on you, but based on others. Not on your terms, but on somebody else's terms. I wrote this down, and I think it's important. People who don't know God will not be moved by the discipline of our religion, but by the sacrifices of our love. People that don't know God, they're not going to be moved by the disciplines of our religion and how good we look on the surface. That's not going to move their heart. What's going to move their heart, the way that God designed us to be moved, is by sacrificial love. That's the power that God has given us. Just as Christ has loved us, we are to love one another. And when we do that, that's what moves people. I want us to be a place where we're known for this kind of love. I don't want this place to ever, this should break our hearts. If somebody comes in these doors, which we don't even come in those doors anymore, but come in these doors and say, I don't feel welcomed here. Some of you may feel that right now. And I want to know it. I want you to come tell me afterwards. And I'm not going to have my feelings hurt. I'm going to try to change it. Because if somebody is in here and doesn't feel welcome, we're missing the point. And there's something wrong with our love if people are coming through the very place where they should find the most love. The very place. If they don't feel that here, if they don't feel something different, then maybe we're focusing a little too much on the disciplines of our religion and how we look on the outside, and not enough on loving each other, even if it's not on your terms, even if you don't really like the other person. Here's something that I thought about this week. Clicks kill. Clicks kill. I don't have it for the screen, but I wish I did, because I want you to hear it. Clicks kill. And I get it. I was in cliques. Like, we all have our friends. We all have our people that we get along with, that we love the most, right? That's the one I love the most. I get it. You can love somebody the most. But if you have a clique, and you come to church especially, and you have a clique, and somebody comes through the door that doesn't know anybody, and you act like you didn't see them, we're in trouble. If your love doesn't compel you, if we aren't a place that is compelled by this love, it's a new commandment, guys. This is not a suggestion. This is not, hey, I'm going to die, on the cross. My name is Jesus. And I'm going to come back to life in 3 days, and then I'm going to leave the ministry with you guys because I'm going to also, the Holy Spirit is going to come after me, and it's going to be better. And you guys are going to be empowered to do my ministry now. So if you have time, I would like to suggest that you love each other. It's not what he said. He said, it's a new commandment that I give to you, a commandment. That you love one another. We got to be known by our love. We can't be known by our cliques. We can't be known by how good we are. That's not going to move anybody. That's not going to save anybody. We should be the most welcoming place in the world. We should be the place that you can come to. Will you put that, McGraw, on the screen? I wanted to show you this because I found this picture. Does anything what are you thinking about? Just somebody, I don't know. Somebody tell me what you think. Harry Potter, Hogwarts, okay. That may be where this is from. Act like it's a church. Not welcoming. Why? Oh, it's ugly, okay. Well, it's pretty hard to get up there, right? I mean, you got it. Is it actually Hogwarts? Let's act like it's not Hogwarts. Let's act like it's a church, right? Imagine trying to go to church there if you couldn't fly like Harry. But I'm serious. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Because when I saw this picture, I was like, wow, we can have welcome on the door all day long. We can have welcome on our shirts. We got welcome home all over the place. We're hashtagging it. That must mean we're welcoming. Nope. The welcome sign, no matter how neon it is, it don't make you welcoming. It doesn't make me welcoming. It doesn't make this place welcoming. In fact, there's really nothing welcoming about this place unless it's full of people that love. And not just love each other, not just love the clique, not just looking forward. Now, trust me, I love that you got friends here. I want you to keep having friends. I just want you to have more friends because I know that the world is full of people that don't have enough friends. And if we could come around this thought of loving each other on their terms, not on our terms, imagine what we would be like. But if we're not careful, we could look a lot like this. Even though we're not on a hill with rocks, they may feel this when they come to us. They may actually feel this way. Have you thought about that? But no, Jared, we got welcome on our sign, man. You designed it, sort of. Like, we got welcome on the shirt. So we got welcome. We got you belong on the wall. If you see it, it's bigger than anything I've ever seen. We got you belong on the wall. We obviously mean that you, yeah. The problem is, if it's on our terms, the only people that belong are the people that fit into our terms. You can't expect people to feel welcome with you if they have to do what you want to do. They have to look how you look. They have to talk how you talk. They have to eat what you eat. They have to listen to what you listen to. They got to run with the same people that you run with. They got to play the same sport that you play. They got to listen to the same music you listen to. They got to like everything that you like. But welcome. Come on, maybe we got it wide open for you. Bring whatever you've got into this place, but you got to do it this way and that way, and we got to like it. We got to be careful. Look at this story in Luke chapter 13. I want you to flip there if you have it. If not, it'll be on the screens. Luke chapter 13, verses 10 through 17. That's where we're going to be today. Luke chapter 13. This is a story that terrifies me. This actually happened. And it terrifies me because of the potential of the church. The potential of the church is huge. But with that responsibility is the possibility of grave defeat. Like, we can either be the greatest beacon of light that the world has ever seen, or we can be the greatest devastation that the world's ever known. How many of you have heard stories of people being church hurt? Coming to church, not whatever, getting turned away. They wore their hat, you know. Oh, no, don't. It's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you've heard stories of people coming into church and walking out and never coming back because they did not feel welcome. The potential of the church is great. Remember, when there's great potential, it goes both ways. There's potential for greatness and there's potential for devastation. We got to be very careful how we steward this potential. Look at Luke chapter 13, verses 10 through 17. I'm going to try not to preach too long, but I'm a little bit fired up. We there? Everybody there? Tell me something. Okay, we're there. Okay. Luke chapter 13, verse 10. Now this is Jesus, now he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. That's church. Okay? Now, let me change it for our sake. Now he was teaching in one of the churches on the Sabbath. That would be our Sunday. Back then it wasn't really, but you get the point. Verse 11. And behold, there was a woman who had had a disabling spirit for 18 years. What in the world is a disabling spirit? Next sentence. It's the beautiful thing about the Bible. If you keep reading, it gives you the answer. She was bent over and could not fully straighten herself. Disabling spirit. This is the picture that they gave us. This girl for 18 years. Can you imagine? 18 years like this. Can't straighten herself. Disabling spirit. Whoever said that the spiritual condition can't affect your physical condition? This girl knew better than that. She couldn't straighten herself like this for 18 years. I'm trying to read it because I want to read like this so you can get the picture. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help you. Verse 12. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said to her, "Woman, you are freed from your disability." Maybe easier. Okay. Just like that. "Woman, you are freed from your disability." Verse 13. And he laid his hands on her and immediately, circle it, write it down, underline it, immediately. It happened immediately. It didn't happen over time. It didn't take a long time. When Jesus touched her, it happened right then. It happened immediately. When Jesus acts, it happens immediately. Circle it. And immediately she was made straight. And what did she do? Look what she did. She glorified God. Immediately. First thing out of her mouth was praise to God because it was obvious what had happened to her. This was not a normal man. This was God. And he'd freed her and she's straight. After 18 years. This is incredible. This is a miracle, right? 18 years, bent over, now she's straight. Look what happens next, verse 14. But the ruler of the synagogue, indignant, angry, mad, ticked off, if you will. Why was he ticked off? Because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath. So he said to the people, "There are 6 days in which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be healed, not on the Sabbath day." Come on, man. Are you being serious? The ruler of the synagogue, you got to come in one of the 6 days to be healed. I don't care if you've been bent over for 18 years. I don't care if you can't talk. I don't care if you can't walk. I don't care if you're dying. There's no emergency 911 capabilities at this synagogue. Unless it's on one of the 6 days that we've designated. In other words, unless it's on our terms. We'd love to heal you. Love it if Jesus did it. Actually, I'd like it even more if I did it. And it needs to be on one of the 6 days that I choose, because I'm only going to love you on your terms. Don't think that we're too far removed from this. The ruler of the synagogue. Look at what Jesus said. Verse 15. It says, "Then the Lord answered him, 'You hypocrites.'" Which leads me to believe that there was more people on the side of the ruler of the synagogue, right? Because that's how they did it. "You hypocrites. Does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to the water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath day?" He kept it real simple for them. Went to a really simple example that they do all the time on purpose so that he could compare the difference in someone that had been healed after 18 years of physically not being able to stand up. And in response to that, they say, it says, verse 17, "As he said these things, all his adversaries were put to shame, and all the people rejoiced at all the glorious things that were done by him." Pretty great ending, right? They were put to shame, at least. I hope we don't get put to shame. But I wonder if Jesus were here in flesh and blood. Because we know he's here in spirit. But if he was here in flesh and blood, I wonder what he would say to us. I wonder if he would lead off with, "You hypocrites." And I wonder if we would be put to shame. I want to talk about a different kind of love tonight. I want to talk about a love that's not based on our terms. I want to talk about a love that's not, "Come as you are, we're wide open for you, but." You see what I'm saying? I want to talk about a love that doesn't include a but at the end of it. I want to talk about a love that doesn't follow a healing in the church with a "but the people were mad because it happened on Jesus' terms and not theirs." I want to talk about a love that doesn't care about preference, that doesn't care about appearance. I want to talk about a love that doesn't stop on the surface and that doesn't just take for itself, but looks for ways to live on other terms, on other people's terms. This is sacrificial love. And I want to ask us tonight, I want us to grapple with it. I want us to wrestle with this. Who are you in the story? Who are you in the story that we just read? Who am I in the story? I work here. I'm a pastor here, right? It'd be real easy for me to be the ruler of the synagogue. But we know that all of us are here intentionally and for a reason, and God has given us a seat in this place. So we could all easily be the ruler of the synagogue in this story. We could all easily get caught up in the traditions and the disciplines and the religion and lifting our hands, looking the part, giving money, going across the world to fix somebody's water filter. And only loving people on our terms. We know what's on the other side of that, right? It's clear in this story. The other side of that is being put to shame. All of his adversaries were put to shame. He called them hypocrites. If you love on your terms only, if your love is only active on your terms, you will be put to shame. If you think that you're a Christian, that you're following Jesus, and you have all of this love, but it's only within your terms, it's only within your 6 days, you will be put to shame. Hear me. Do not be the ruler of the synagogue. I don't know how clear to be. We don't want to be the ruler of the synagogue. We want to be a people more like Jesus, right? It's the other option in the story. Ruler of the synagogue, Jesus. They responded very different. And it was love that beckoned both of them. The problem is the love that Jesus had was not on his terms. The love was on the woman's terms. He met her where she was and didn't hesitate because of the conditions. Didn't hesitate because of the traditions. None of that mattered because the love that he had was based on what she needed. Are you like the ruler of the synagogue? Are you more like Jesus? Or are you the woman that needed healing? Maybe you're in this room tonight and you're not a woman. That's okay. It's not reserved for women. Maybe you're a boy, maybe you're a girl, maybe you're a woman, maybe you're a man. I don't care. Maybe you're in this room and you need healing. Maybe it's not a physical problem. Maybe it's a spiritual problem. Maybe it's an emotional problem. Maybe it's a problem that you aren't even able to control. Maybe your parents are harmful. Maybe you've come here every week looking for something more, looking for something. Sydney said to me earlier this week, you know, the girl that was running around passing out jelly beans. Most of you know her. She's great. Sydney said to me this week, she said, at school and in the world and all these people that, like, they're trying to teach me things. Everybody's trying to teach me things, right? She actually said, I've learned enough about sines and cosines. It's a math term. You'll get there eventually. But nobody's teaching me how to live. Like, life is coming at me hard. And so maybe you're in this room and you're like Sydney and you're here because you need to know how to deal with life. You need to know how to deal with this stuff that hurts, that's harming you. Maybe you're a lot like this woman, and maybe it's been happening for 18 years. Some of you, that's possible. And you're coming to this place and you need something. Maybe you don't even know what it is, but you know that you need something, and you know that that's why you're here. Man, I want to tell you tonight that there's good news, because Jesus can help. Jesus can heal. Jesus is able to do far more than you can imagine. And if you need something today, even if you don't know what it is, you're in the right place. Because I believe that there's nothing that you need more than Jesus. And I am praying this week, and it'd be a miracle if I don't preach on this next week, because I'll probably be praying about it next week too. But I'm praying that we are a place that can receive you. If you're here and you're like this woman, man, we have got to be the place where you go. Because there's a love that's here. And we don't always show it well because we're people. And sometimes we hang out with our cliques, and sometimes we don't pay attention to what you're going through, and sometimes we don't listen well. Sometimes we just like to talk, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm praying and asking God that he would change that about us and that we would be known by our love. That we would be a place that's a magnet for people that need healing. That when they see our sign and when they see the hashtag, they would not see Hogwarts, but they would see a place that's accessible. That we would be a place where somebody could walk out of prison after 18 years through those doors and be welcomed just the same. Doesn't matter where they've been. Doesn't matter what they've done. Here's the deal. Here's what I want you to hear. This is all lip service if there's not love motivating it. Because we can preach this gospel all day. We can preach it with our mouths all day. But if when that person walks through those doors and we don't welcome them with that love, it's all lip service. I don't want to be a people built on lip service. Jesus designed us to live full lives as we love him and love others. Loving people cannot be based on our terms. If it is, we will be put to shame. Who are you in the story? And no matter where you are in the story, this is good news. No matter where you are, even if you're convicted right now and you're like, man, I actually am kind of like the ruler of the synagogue. I actually am cliquey. I actually do want it to be my way. I don't really hang out with people that don't look like me. I don't really hang out with people that don't talk like me. I don't really love people that I don't like. It's on my terms, the way I love. Maybe if you're honest, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand. Don't worry. But maybe if you're honest, that's you. The only love you have is for things and people that can give you something in return. Maybe that's you tonight. If that's you, there's good news because it's not too late. Do you know the only qualification to come through those doors and to be here, a part of this family? You know what it is? The qualification. If you're wondering, maybe some of you are wondering if you're welcome and like if you have a place here, let me tell you what the only qualification is. Breathing. The way that I know, without a shadow of a doubt, the way that I know that it's not too late for you, breathing. God gives you breath because he's not finished with you yet. And the good news is, he's not waiting for some time down the road when you have it a little more together to put you in the game. He's just looking for your availability and a heart that's open to whatever he wants to do. And I can promise you, sometimes that's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to look a lot like 2 a.m., getting up when you don't want to get up with your crying baby. Take the picture and apply it to your life. There's things in your life that you don't want to do. There's people in your life that you don't want to love. The picture is the same. The application is the same. Love cannot be on our terms, and God is ready to use you. You don't need a position or a title to be somebody who is anointed to love. You don't need to have a microphone to be somebody that's anointed to love. God does the anointing. God gives you the breath, and God gives you the call. And the call is going to look different for everybody. We've all got different gifts. We've all got different things going on. But it's the same in its simplest form, and that is to love one another, just as Christ loved you. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to the basics of that. I don't want to hear this business about, I've only been to church like 5 times this year. And if you could have seen what I did on prom night, you probably wouldn't be telling me that God's still able to use me. I don't want to hear it. Jared, you didn't see me on spring break, man. You didn't see it. I'm just trying to tell you, the qualification is you're breathing and you're here. Are you available? Are you ready? As he's trying to do so much with you guys. He is trying to do so much through this place. And we're wasting time hiding behind the guilt and the shame of what happened at spring break, what happened at school, and what happened at home, and what happened. You can't even get past it. I'm trying to tell you, step into the light. Step into the light. There's grace in the light. There's hope in the light. He needs your faith, and he needs your availability. And he's going to wreck everything else. He's going to change everything for you. Step out. Step out. When you love this kind of way, when you love sacrificially, not based on your conditions, you shine brighter than anything in this world. And people will be drawn to that. Not because you're great, not because you're awesome, not because you're the prettiest and you won the queen of prom or whatever. But because the light that's inside of you is eternal and it's satisfying and it's fulfilling and it's actually what people are looking for and they don't really know yet. They see you and they're like, what in the world is different about that person? Why and what is going on with that? They just went through, they just lost a parent. They just lost a loved one, but they're still praising God. They have their hands raised. They're serving the community. They're loving people. They're still focused on what God is doing. And they're talking about, no matter what you do, God, take whatever you need to take. I will praise you even still. What is that? That is love. That is love, the kind of love that has changed them forever. May they know us by our love.